I recently did a video where I tested 5 of the most popular hair volumizing products, and something absolutely shocking happened. The cheapest product outperformed all of them except one. Well, that begs the question then, now I need to know, do cheaper products actually work better than expensive ones? Nah. I bought these 3 products. Do you know how much they cost? All of them collectively together. Yeah, not individually, all of them together, $3.75. So I'm gonna test them. Once I find which one performs the best, I'm gonna compare that to the best products of the recent video.
Wow.
Okay, so let's walk you through how this test is gonna work. Now, exactly like the last time, I've got 5 mannequin heads, and these are all identical because I wanna control as many variables as I possibly can. I did cut them, not for a style, nothing pretty, just to get them into the same shapes, or as close to as the same kind of hairstyle as I could give them. After that, I took them and I threw them in the tub and I washed them all. I used the same shampoo and the same amounts. I actually measured out the amounts to ensure that it was the same. After that, I towel dried them just so they weren't dripping wet, and then I applied equal amounts of each product. Again, measuring that amount to ensure that they were all equal. Now, they do, just like all products, have different use instructions, and I typically find that most people don't use enough volumizing product, and that's a lot of the reason that people actually don't get the result that they're looking for. But more importantly, in this test, I have to kind of ignore those uses and really focus on just making sure that I get the same amount of product for each one, so again, I can give you the most unbiased opinions. So in this case, I saturated all of the heads with the product. And for that, I tilted the mannequins upside down and combed the product through to ensure that I got equal distribution from roots to ends on every mannequin. After that was done, I kept their hair upside down, just like I would tell you at home to do if you're trying to create volume, and I got them pretty much 80% dry before I used a round brush. When I used a round brush, I used the same brush on every mannequin, and I used it in the exact same manner, which is pulling it directly out from the scalp on each section to create as much volume as I possibly could. Now again, this is not to make it look good. I'm not trying to get a polished style. I'm trying to get as much volume as I can to really see how these products do at creating volume. Now, after that was done, I took photos of each, and here they are. So, in no particular order, let's start with the Flex. Now, the Flex actually gave relatively good volume. And one thing that you want to know about mannequin heads is they have these really weird hairlines, and they all just kind of grow forward. They can be really hard to get any sort of like control out of. So to me, it's actually a pretty good indication of how much control, not just volume, you can get from these products. And so in this case, when I ran my hands through the mannequin's head and then styled it with my hands, it actually came out pretty well. I was pretty impressed with both the amount of volume as well as the ease of getting this to stay into a style. So all in all, Flex did a pretty good job. Now, moving to the White Rain, this I was not as impressed with. It gave some volume, but I could not for the life of me get this piece to stay back off of the mannequin's face. It was driving me insane. And there wasn't a lot of volume in the top that I could get either, which is probably part of the problem with that piece falling down in the face. And to me, that's kind of a big deal. So it gave volume, but I'm not in love with it by any stretch yet. Spa Luxury, I would say I was very impressed with this. It was quite easy to get control out of it, and it gave a lot of volume. As you can see here, quite a bit of volume. Definitely the most of all of these 3, and it was really easy to work my hands through and kind of manipulate. So it was kind of a big win. But just like in the last video, that is not enough to really determine how these products function, because we both know that you need to know how they're gonna last in your hair over the day. I still think one of the biggest reasons that hair starts to fall throughout the day doesn't so much have to do with the product no longer working or just losing volume. It has to do with how much you are playing with your hair and then transferring all of those oils as well as grime that comes throughout the day into the hair, and that is what can actually flatten it out. So for the next 8 hours, every hour on the hour, I went through and ran my hands through each mannequin's hair in the same exact manner, the same way, for those 8 hours. But then, again, that's still not enough time. I want to see how long this is going to last after that. So right after that was done, I let them sit for another 16 hours. Now after that, in the morning, I immediately took photos to see just what they're gonna look like without touching them. But I also know that that's not what you're gonna do. By the end of the day, you're not just gonna leave your hair alone. You're gonna try to manipulate it and restyle it kind of back how it was. And that's what I wanna know is, how do they work when you do that? So I took them off of the stands, I shook the hair out, And then I ran my hands through it and tried to restyle with my hands. And this is how they turned out. Hey, real quick, if you like these videos, I want to know what products you want to see tested, or what tools. What do you want me to test in upcoming videos? Comment below. Oh, and by the way, if you're getting any value out of these, do me a massive favor. Hit that subscribe button. It's totally free, hugely helps. Or share this with one of your friends, or even better yet, like it, do all that stuff. YouTube stuff. Okay, now I've got all the photos here of each part of that process. However, we're just gonna be kind of focusing on the right after styling photo and the after the shake and the restyle photo, because that's kind of more of really what's gonna happen in your process. So let's start with the flex again in no particular order. There was definitely very little volume right after I woke up. However, just shaking it out and restyling it, it actually close to back to its original shape. So all in all, I would say that this performed well. It wasn't outstanding, but it by no means was terrible. So the white rain actually surprised me a little bit here. Now, right after I woke up, again, even running my hands through this every hour on the hour for 8 hours, it's still, I could not get that piece to fall back off of the face. It just kept on falling forward. So there's really little control here. And as far as volume goes, it did kind of recreate some of its original volume. It lost a bit, but not as bad as I think I would have expected. I still think the Flex did a better job here, but it didn't do terrible either. Okay, now the Spa Luxury product, it was really easy the entire time to get control out of. Even right after I woke up, just running my hands through it, I was able to get it back off the face really easily. And that never changed. And then when I was able to shake it out and restyle it, I felt like it actually lost a similar amount of volume as the other two, but it did actually maintain the volume to me, where it's actually kind of the most important, which is kind of up in the top area. We don't want to create as much volume around the bottom. We're really trying to create it up around the crown. So far, I would say that it's performing better than the other two. Okay, but just like last time, I know you know that that's not enough. What if you live in a humid climate? I got that shower nice and steamy. It's so steamy. And then I dumped these mannequin heads into that bathroom with the door shut for 30 minutes. Once I took them out, I did the same thing. I tilled them all upside down, shook them out a bit, and then tried to restyle them with my hands to get kind of an idea of what it's gonna look like. Because let's be realistic, that's what you're gonna do. You're gonna go outside, and when you get back into your car or back home, you're gonna try to restyle your hair and get a better look out of it. This is what we found. Now again, in no particular order, we'll start with the Flex. I'd say the Flex did an okay job. Realistically, it kept some of the volume, but it lost a lot of volume. Okay, at best. That's from okay. The white rain, no. 100% this fell everywhere, and any control that I somehow managed to get out of it in the beginning is now gone. No, this is not a humidity fighter. There's absolutely nothing about this that is going to work if you're in a humid environment. Spa Luxury, again, I feel like it's coming out on top here. It's retaining quite a bit of volume. I'm actually still pretty surprised with this. It lost a little bit of volume, but it kept a lot. And it was still pretty easy to get control out of it when I tried to style it back into shape. I'm pretty impressed with this one, actually. I'm excited to see how this stacks up to the products that won from the last episode. But before we get to the results on which ones actually performed the best, there's a couple other obvious tests that we need to do. The first one is feel. How do they feel in your hair? Let's go find out. Okay, so we'll start with the white rain, which is this one. You know how I know this is the white rain? Because of this. Okay, now if we were gonna give this a scale on a 1 to 10, 1 being, I don't even feel it in the hair, 10 being, ew.
10.
10, yeah. Ew. But I would say this is somewhere in the 3 to 4 range. You definitely feel it, but it's not terrible. The Spa Luxury, let's see. So this feels actually about a 3 or 4 too. And there's some, when I comb through it like this with my hands, it gets a little bit tangled at the bottom. It's not terrible, but you're gonna notice it. And the Flex, yes, this is a 4, easily a 4. So you're gonna get the most texture out of the Flex. And then you're actually gonna get the least amount out of the white rain here. You're gonna get a little bit less out of the Spa Luxury product. So with that said, as far as how they feel in the hair, would I tell you that you would hate the texture completely? Probably not, if I'm honest. And the reason for that is because, like I said, I did use a ridiculous amount of these. So it's kind of expected that I'm gonna get some texture. Now, one little tip that I did not share in the last video is that actually the process of getting good tension on a round brush and blow drying that hair through and really working that product through as you're blow drying it actually takes the texture or the feeling out of hair many times. It'll make it feel a lot softer. So give that a try, see if that doesn't help the product that you're using right now. All right, now there's still one more test that I did not do last time. And one of you amazing folks was quick to throw it into the comments, and I couldn't believe that I missed it. It's the smell test here with the Spa Luxury, and we're gonna see. So it's pretty fragrant. It's not a bad fragrance. It's kind of sweet, kind of floral in a way. Honestly, I'm not totally turned off by it, but you're definitely gonna notice a fragrance with it. Moving on to the Flex. Okay, that's not as good. It's strong. It's kind of chemically, if I'm honest. Yeah, it's not necessarily floral or anything like that. It's definitely stronger than the Spa Luxury. That is, of the two so far, definitely the strongest scent. The White Rain. Oh my gosh. No what? Babe, take this real quick and tell me what it smells like.
What it smells like? It smells like a smoker wearing perfume.
Right?
It's not pleasant.
I legitimately was like, there's no possible way that that's what this smells like. But yes, I didn't say a word to Dion about it. 1000%. This smells like if you smoked in home and then sprayed down with perfume, that's what it's gonna smell like. That smells like if you could somehow fart cigarettes into a bowl and then add in some potpourri. That's probably wrong. Now, hey, I'm not bashing on smokers. I quit like 20 years ago, but I honestly don't think I've ever met anybody that said, I want to smell like cigarettes. If I'm totally honest, regardless of how this performs against anything, to me, that's an immediate discard. I just wouldn't even move in that direction, but that's just me. Okay, let's bring this all home. So, which of these performed the best? Oh, and before we go any further, check this out. We're gonna do a lot more of these videos because you seem to like them. So with all the products, we're gonna create this list, and it's gonna be a running list that's gonna continuously get updated. So it'll let you know which products are performing better than all of the rest. And it'll give you links to where you can find all of the products that we do test. So if you want access to that, we're gonna throw a link in the description so you can find it. Number 3, I would say 100% is the White Rain. For a multitude of different reasons, one being the smell, but also because it just simply didn't perform as well. It didn't keep as much volume, didn't create as much volume, and it definitely didn't create as much control. Number 2 is the Flex. I think it did a pretty good job of creating volume, and it did a really good job, I would say, of maintaining the volume. But once the humidity hit, not so much. It did not perform as well as number 1, which was the Spa Luxury. This surprised me. It legit actually worked better, actually much better than I anticipated. It actually created a lot of volume. It was easy to get control. There was some texture to it, so that is something you have to pay attention to. Even when it got humid, it still maintained it pretty well. So as a whole, it performed much better than I would have expected, especially at a $1.25 price tag. Huh? With that said, how does it compare to Tresemme, which was the other budget entry from the last test? And what? I think this actually did better. I would say that the extra hold mousse from Spa Luxury has to take the budget win for this. So move over Tresemme. We may have found a new horse in the game. That made no sense. But you know what I'm trying to say here is that this is actually better or as good. I think the difference between the Tresemme and this is that Tresemme is a spray versus this being a mousse. For you, it may be a situation where you find it easier to apply a spray than to apply this mousse. That may be a factor, so it is something that you should think about. But as far as how they both function, I think they did a really good job. And I think both of them give a lot of volume, hold a lot of volume, and did reasonably well when it came to humidity. So finally, who is at the top? We've got our luxury winner, which is Color Wow so far. We have our budget winner, which is the Spa Luxury right now. So who's the best out of all? Right now, I still say the Color Wow has a little bit of a leg up. It creates a little bit more volume and it holds it a little bit better. With that said, you are talking about two very different price tags there. So it depends on how much that extra money is worth it to you. These are just my 2 cents. If you like this, make sure you go ahead and check this video right there. And I'll see you over there.